part 1 of my reshaping style series of how a bunch of creators took a diabetic medication to lose weight, making it go viral and causing a national shortage. At least that's what you think happened. But that's not what happened. Well, not really. So I want to kind of give you the background of what we have done here on TikTok and the truth. So in summer of 2022, a medication hit the market called Mounjaro. And Mounjaro was specifically at the time, I guess you could say slated to be for type 2 diabetics, but it was in studies to treat obesity. And the pharma reps for this company called Eli Lilly had gone around and given samples to a lot of doctors' offices, not just for the purpose of diabetes, but also for, hey, if you want to try this with your people that have obesity, like we're in trials for it. And then the manufacturer launched a coupon, and the coupon allowed you to get this medication for $25, and you didn't at the time have to have type 2 diabetes. This coupon is also often referred to as the savings card. Now, there are really strict laws that pharmaceutical companies cannot market or advertise for one of their medications if it does not have like an approved indication. So they can't say Mounjaro for weight loss unless it's gone through approval for that. So the wording on the card was vague, which meant we could use it. Now, I'm a little different personally. I started on Victoza Saxenda in July of 2022, and then I switched to Ozempic the end of 22, and I didn't get on Mounjaro until much later because it wasn't on my formulary. I forgot to introduce myself if you don't know me. My name is Kim, and I am a creator on all the platforms in the land, and I also am the founder and the host, well, one of the hosts of the Plus Size podcast, which is an award-winning podcast all about this particular medication, all about the different people that take it and how it's changed their lives. And it is a free educational resource for you if you have obesity so that you can learn all about this and be able to advocate for your health. Back to the story. So hashtag Mounjaro journey became a really big thing here on TikTok. And there were maybe between 50 and 100 creators over that sort of 6-month period that were tracking their weight loss journey here on TikTok, showing them doing their shot every week and doing weigh-in day videos and going about it like we kind of would with anything else like any kind of weight loss journey. Now, almost all of us that were taking this either had type 2 diabetes or had obesity. And I'm being very, very specific about that because this is very different than somebody who, say, doesn't have one of those and who is taking those medications perhaps for whatever reason. Okay, so I don't know them. I can't speak to that walk. I can only talk about what I've seen and what I've experienced. So this all started to happen, and during this time, Wegovy, which is there was a weight loss version or obesity treatment version for Ozempic, had already been in shortage for a really long time. And you were hearing stuff in the media about like people in Hollywood taking it, and you were hearing about people that were taking it off label, which is totally normal in medicine, especially considering Wegovy and Ozempic are the exact same medication. They only vary by dose. But we saw a lot of stuff in the media start to pick up on what we were doing here, sharing our journeys. And again, in the beginning, it was just sort of like we were all connecting and we were talking about the savings card and insurance issues. But a lot of us were talking about, and this is sort of where I came in, we're talking more about the mental piece that was going on in our brain and no longer having food noise. So we would start having lives about it. We were making videos about it. And it continued to grow and grow and grow because more and more people were finding our content and being like, oh my God, me too. Oh my God, me too. Now, during this time, the media started to pay attention. And we started seeing spots on the news more about how people that were fat were taking this medication away from diabetics. And that's why there was a shortage. And we were the ones to blame, and we shouldn't be taking it off label, and we needed to save it for the people that needed it. They even interviewed people like in this community and that were creators at the time. We just kind of started calling it community at the time. And honestly, for the most part, it was not a positive light in the beginning. It really wasn't. And kind of anytime you talk to the media, you really never know how it's going to go. And then on top of that, the trolls, oh my God, the trolls here on TikTok specifically were insane. I mean, like, they were so cruel. And always like this riff between those who had obesity and who were on Mounjaro, and those who didn't, or did have obesity but also had type 2 diabetes and were on Mounjaro. There was this riff, and a lot of that was because of the shortage. Before the shortage, when everybody could get their medicine, it was really kind of like kumbaya, you know? But the media and society constantly were trying to pit somebody against somebody else to be able to, in my opinion, take the spotlight off of Eli Lilly or Novo Nordisk for not making enough medication, or for Eli Lilly releasing that savings card. This is where I started to make a lot of content. Releasing that savings card that allowed people to take it off label when it wasn't approved for anything other than type 2 yet. And then when in the diabetic community and the obesity community, we kind of started to work it out. Like, wait, guys, listen, we both have chronic diseases. And then many people that were diabetic were like, actually, I really want this for everybody. You know, I don't want anybody to have to become a diabetic because I was obese and I became a diabetic and it was awful. And I don't want that for you. Most people who have diabetes were like that. But there were some that weren't, right? And honestly, it's just because they wanted their medicine. And it's not because, in my opinion, it's not because, from what I saw, that they were thinking that they were more deserving. Now, scientifically, type 2 diabetes is a progression for many people. There's other people that aren't obese that have type 2 diabetes, but many times, okay? 50% of the time, over 50% of the time, if you have obesity, you will end up with type 2 diabetes. It's insulin resistance and it is a progression. That's why a diabetic medication, okay, treats obesity. It treats the underlying dysfunction. And nobody was asking why we would take the most expensive medication, right? That had the most scarcity, that was in shortage, with the most bias and cruelty around it, if we could just eat less, if we could just move more. There are other medications we can take to eat less. Why are we doing this? Is it just because we like to give ourselves a shot? No, but that was the story. I'm making this content because what we've done here is starting to change society. It is slow, but it is working. And I want to make sure that our story is told before TikTok gets banned, you know, or before, I mean, frankly, like anything, we get shut up at all. I don't know how things are going to go with this, like everything coming up in 2025. Stuff's been scary lately. Now, in the community, there were always, because, I mean, if you think about it, like it's a marginalized community. We're all kind of thrown together. We had trauma bond in common, because when you live your life in a big body in this society for a long time, when you can't control the size of your body, the mental gymnastics that you do to just try to stay resilient and get up and try again and again and again is really, really traumatic and difficult. But we had that bond. But a lot of us, we didn't have a lot of things in common. So we kind of started this community, and the community's kind of, you know, I would say kind of veered off on other platforms and other areas and things like that. And I think at the time we thought, in my opinion, that was sort of not good. But honestly, I think that it's fine. And I think it's okay that we don't all get along, as long as we all want access for everybody, and we all want everybody to know they're not alone. We want everybody to know it's not their fault. And every creator that's ever made a piece of content, in my opinion, on this app, whether they're connected with me or friends with me or anything like that, thank you. And you're awesome. No matter what, you have helped so many people. And if everything goes down here, I just want to make sure that you know that, and you may not care, that's okay. But I really think that you've done so many good things and been incredibly brave. And I hope that you will continue that on other platforms in the future. And for those of you who have done even more advocacy, you know, by starting podcasts and things like that too, I think it's amazing. And that's just part one of where we're at. And stay tuned for part two, where I'm going to go into the shortage and the coupon changes. And that will be coming out this month. For those who do have obesity, you are not alone. You are not your fault. You know, I'm not going to cut that. You're not alone. It's not your fault. It's this Risa Tisa style, guys. It's going to be scrappy. And check out the Plus Size Podcast for help. Love you.